Guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to one of my most favorite topics of them all, medical physics, because this is a very practical topic that explores all the different ways in which physics can be used in medicine. So we're going to be covering all of that today, and I hope that by the end of this video series for medical physics, you'll be a master of this topic. It's one of my most favorite topics, and I'm so excited to be doing it with you. So we're going to explore a lot of different techniques across this entire topic. So it's going to be divided into three subsections. The first one is how can ultrasound be used in medical imaging? The second aspect is how can X-rays be used in medical imaging? And then the last part is how can phenomenons, or known as positron emission technology, be used in medical physics. So those are the three subtopics that we're going to be covering, and today we're going to be starting with the first one. It's a brief introduction to how ultrasound is going to be used in medicine, and it's what we're going to be exploring from this video and going onwards. So we're just going to look at the different objectives that are required for us to cover. We have to understand the production and use of ultrasound. So as you go through this entire topic, you should be checking off all these different objectives that you're seeing over there and seeing, do I know that? Do I know that? Do I know that? What's going on? And how can I be able to answer all those different objectives? So the first one is, how can ultrasound be used in medical imaging? And you guessed that right. How can sound, not that kind of sound, but ultrasound be used in medical imaging? So first we need to understand what is ultrasound to begin with before we even explore how it can be used in medicine. So the sound is just a wave, right? We've already covered waves in AS, but sound is just a wave that is created by vibrating objects, and it is allowed to travel through a particular medium. As humans, we have ears, right? So we can be able to capture sound, and the sound that we can hear falls in what is known as the audible range. That is from 20 hertz all the way until 20,000 hertz. That is the normal human audible range, which we can be asked to state in different exams. So sound that is below 20 hertz, that is sound so low that you can't even hear it, is known as infrasound. Okay? And sound that is too loud that you can't even hear it as well is sound known as ultrasound. So those are two different types of sounds that we're going to encounter in physics: infrasound, ultrasound, and normal sound that we can hear as human beings. So we can therefore define ultrasound as high frequency sound above the typical human range, sounds above 20,000 hertz. Typically, if this sound is used in medical purposes, it has to be in the megahertz range, right? So big, like 5 million hertz, right? If you can find a way to produce ultrasound in that manner, you can use it for purposes that are beneficial. Right, I'm going to give you a little spoiler alert and tell you the process itself in which ultrasound can be used. As you can see on the screen, it's for pregnant mothers to scan what's happening inside their bodies. We found a way to use ultrasound in that. So we're going to arrive to how that works, but first we need to understand how on earth can we produce ultrasound to begin with. So we're going to explore a particular concept that I like, which is known as the piezo-electric effect. Remember, keep this in your brain. The goal is, how can we be able to produce ultrasound? That is the question that we're trying to answer from now going forward. So understanding this effect will help us better understand how ultrasound can be produced. And trust me, all of this will make sense after you've understood this effect. So let's go through that. The piezoelectric effect is essentially defined as the ability of a particular material to generate electricity or to generate a potential difference by transferring mechanical energy to electrical energy. That device which can convert energy from one form to another is known as a transducer. So I'm going to explain what a transducer is very quickly. So a transducer is a material that converts energy from one form to another. Look at this microphone that I'm using to record these videos. This microphone, hello 1212. This is an input transducer. It converts the sound waves from my voice into electrical pulses. So we call that an input transducer. And the speaker that you're seeing on that screen is an output transducer. It's able to convert electrical pulses into sound. So a device that can be able to generate mechanical energy from electrical energy, as well as electrical energy from mechanical energy, is going to be called a piezoelectric transducer. That is a material that can allow that to happen. That is what I refer to as the piezoelectric effect. Now, you're going to be wondering, what is mechanical energy? What is he talking about? Well, I put a little illustration here so that you can be able to understand. So let's assume we have this material. This is the material that we're talking about. And you're going to apply stress. That is, you're going to compress that material together. What's going to happen is that a voltage is going to be registered over here. How that happens, we're going to cover that a little bit later. A voltage is going to be registered over here, and we call that an induced voltage, right? You compress a particular substance, and if you do this up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, if you induce a voltage, we say that is a piezoelectric transducer. The mechanical energy is that effort that you're applying, right? Or if you're going to apply a particular voltage, there's going to be strain on this material. So if you take the material as is and you apply a voltage, if that material vibrates because you've applied a potential difference, we say that is also the piezoelectric effect. Or we can say that crystal, that material, is a piezoelectric transducer. Okay, so what are we talking about here? We have a crystal that you can mine, right? It's like a quartz crystal, very common crystal made up of silicon dioxide. How it works, you're not really required to know by Cambridge, but for those who are quite curious about how ultrasound is produced, this video is for you, right? So a piezoelectric crystal is essentially a crystal that creates EMF when it's deformed, that is when it's compressed and stretched. So if a PD is applied to that same crystal as well, it can also experience deformation, right? So you can apply a PD, that crystal deforms, or you can deform that crystal, then it generates a potential difference. It works in both ways. So when the lattice is distorted, the structure becomes charged, and you can be able to produce an electric current. This is quite interesting and fascinating. So look at this particular diagram. Without stress, you have this particular structure of a quartz crystal, right? And then you're going to put it under tension. So tension is you take that crystal and you stretch it like this, right? So you can see that over here, I have 2 positive atoms at the top, and then I have 2 negative atoms at the bottom. So that means effectively, wherever you have the maximum possible amount of positive ions that have been shifted over there, that's going to be your positive terminal. And wherever you have the greatest amount of negative atoms being pushed there, that's going to be your negative terminal. So you've created an electric potential. So this flow of current is actually flow of electrons, rather, right? That's what I mean by saying flow of current. So the electrons can now be able to flow in that circuit from negative all the way to positive because I've just put this under tension. If I put it under compression, one part is going to have almost all the negative charges, one part is going to have almost all the positive charges, and that dipole as well is going to be the one that creates an electric field that allows current to also flow. So you can also see that if an electric current is supplied to a particular crystal, that crystal can change shape, right? Or if that crystal is deformed, an electrical pulse can therefore be generated. What is the use of all this? We can use this in medicine by creating this device. So we're going to explain in the next video how this device is actually used. But for now, just understand that we have that device which can be able to be used for the piezoelectric effect or to be able or to be used in medical diagnosis. So how does this work? Essentially, you're going to have your piezoelectric crystal over here. So this is your piezoelectric crystal. There's going to be a nose, a plastic nose. There's going to be an electric root so that electric current can flow back and forth. There are going to be electrodes over here and here to apply an alternating potential. And then we're going to have an insulator over here to allow sound not to just escape. Okay, so such an instrument can be used to produce ultrasound or to detect ultrasound. How does that work? The first thing is going to be here. So if you apply an alternating PD, an alternating PD can be produced using a signal generator or those kind of processes. So if you apply a PD that goes positive, negative, you can cause the change in the shape of a quartz crystal, right? So if you apply a PD, get this, if you apply a potential difference, you can change the shape of a particular material, right? So the alternating electrical pulse goes here, it arrives on the piezoelectric crystal, then the crystal is vibrating. So imagine it's going back and forth, 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 right? As it's vibrating, we know that vibrations will produce sound. So the vibrations occur in the exact region that is going to generate ultrasound. The vibration occurs exactly like that, right? So we say that is transmission. We're able to generate ultrasound using that process. So We're now receiving this ultrasound. The same transducer will vibrate, right? So as ultrasound comes, my eardrum will vibrate when sound is incident on it. The same can happen to this crystal. It's going to vibrate because there's incoming ultrasound waves. Because of that, that's going to create an alternating electrical signal. So an electrical signal is therefore going to go, then it's going to get to your computer, and the incoming sound can also be diagnosed. So if you're following, we say the ultrasound is sound that we can't hear. It's sound that is too loud for us to hear, but can be used for medical imaging. So to use it, we need a device that can be able to generate ultrasound. And we've found as humans a device known as a quartz crystal, or a material known as quartz crystal rather. If you apply an alternating PD to that material, it can be able to vibrate. As that material is vibrating, it can therefore be able to produce ultrasound. And as ultrasound is incident on that same material, it can also cause mechanical energy of those vibrations to generate an electrical signal that we can understand when we capture those incoming waves, right? That's what I mean by this. So that's essentially the first video. In the next video, we're going to solve 2 past papers, or going to walk through those past papers to see if we've actually understood what I am saying. So I really hope this was a nice introduction into ultrasound and how it's used for medical imaging. And I'll see you guys in the next one where we solve some examples.